Hi, this is Anthony. Welcome back to my show. My most recent videos on Nano Dimension, an Israeli high-tech company listed on NASDAQ, has garnered a lot of comments, particularly comments supporting the company and attacking me. That's okay because I'm excited that my growing YouTube channel is garnering any type of reaction. I have gotten permission from one of the writers to use his publicly posted comments to a couple of my videos because I think that some of what he says may have merit, and even if he's wrong on it, I want to show both sides of the argument for the sake of transparency. I don't want you to buy or sell or avoid NNDM based solely on what I say. I want you to take into account my views along with many others before you make any decisions. I'm going to put his comments on the screen on a couple different slides because one slide won't hold all of the comments. I'm only going to put them up for a few seconds each. This is YouTube, so you can stop and start it once you get done reading it. I'm also not going to read them out loud, although that might make a little better video, simply because the author was perhaps a little rushed or may not speak English as a first language and made some mistakes, and I don't want my viewers to get caught up on the grammar mistakes of the writer. After you scroll through those slides, I will then go into my comments on the company. For full disclosure, I do not own any shares directly, although I have some mutual funds that probably own some shares of Nano. Without actually looking, my guess is the total value of any Nano holdings that I have through mutual funds may be worth around $5. So while it's certainly not in my interest to try to talk down the stock, if I have negative things to say, it's because I believe them to be accurate. I'm trying to create a personal finance and investing channel based on accuracy, not on hype. And to be very clear and direct, I am not shorting this or any stock. When people hear the term nano, they get excited about super futuristic nanotechnology. That's not quite what we're dealing with here with this company, unfortunately. Among other things, they make inkjet printers. Now, I have an inkjet printer right next to where I'm sitting as I compose this. It's a combination scanner printer, and I think it costs maybe $150. It is in no way connected to nanotechnologies. I've had it for many years, and where the manufacturer makes its money is not from the printer, but from the ink, which I was paying up to $70 a cartridge for. So again, my point here is despite the name, the company may have some cutting-edge products within certain niche industries, but they're not making microscopic nanorobots or anything like that. Just keep that in mind. Some of the comments challenging my contention run along these lines. One is that they have over $1 billion in the bank, and the market value of the entire company is just under $700 million. These figures at this time are correct. However, this is an extremely misleading way to value a company, and that is not used by sophisticated investors when evaluating the intrinsic value of securities. There are cases where companies that are making money have a lot of cash sitting in the bank accounts and makes some companies good targets for activist investors. These are big-time investors who in the past often were called raiders. Unless you have a lot of money and plan on taking over the company, intending to distribute the cash to investors, you can forget about looking at all that cash as a signifier of significant future value. And again, as I point out, all that money that's in the bank came from a secondary share offering that was conducted when the shares were higher, not from sales of their products. The issue about the company going under $1 and being delisted from NASDAQ has come up. Now, it's certainly true that the company can do a reverse split so that they don't go below the dollar threshold. But there is also a market capitalization requirement for stock exchanges. That is to say, if you had a share of stock that traded at $10 a piece and you only had 10 shares out there, so your market capitalization would be $100, then you'd be tossed off the exchange. And my point about the reverse splits isn't mainly directed at whether they can trade on the stock market or not, but it has to do with reverse split fees. Also, many mutual funds are not allowed to invest in stocks that trade under $5 a share. Even if Nano is not at risk being kicked off of an exchange, it is at risk of not being in many portfolios because of its low price. And again, the company has had a reverse split in the past. The company continues to lose money. It is unprofitable, and the profits are what sophisticated investors look at. Certainly, it's true that many companies start out losing money for a long time. Amazon and Tesla are examples. And those happen to be my two largest holdings at this time. But in many cases, money invested in companies like that is dead money for many, many years. And many companies that lose money for a long term, they just simply go bankrupt. Remember, the purpose of making money in the stock market is to make money. You are not investing in Nano Dimension. The money that you spend buying shares does not go to the company so that they can invest in R&D. When you buy shares on the stock market, you're just buying from someone else who, for whatever reason, doesn't think that holding on to Nano Dimension is worth it anymore. And most likely, if you buy now, you're buying from somebody who has lost money, perhaps a lot of money, in this company. They just came out with recent financials for the quarter ending June 2022. Let's look at a thumbnail of those. Looking at the chart, which numbers do you think look good? That they lost nearly $40 million in 3 months? In the previous quarter, they lost only a bit over $33 million. So that trend is not going in the right direction. Think about it. The most recent quarter, they lost $13 million more than the quarter previously. And when I talk about losing money, I'm just looking here at the net income. There are obviously other numbers that you can look at, and I encourage everyone who is interested in investing or staying invested in the company to look at all the numbers from their financials, not just the ones I happen to mention. But let's look at the previous quarter, the one that ended December 2021. What was their net income in that quarter? A loss of nearly $160 million. And then the quarter before that, a loss of $18.25 million. As I always mention, I have nothing against Nano Dimension Technologies Limited. I want them to do well. I want their stockholders to do well. But with this particular company, I don't see many positive signs. If you can find a trend in their finances that will show that they will become profitable anytime soon, please point that out. They recently have had a management change at the top. That certainly might be a good movement in the right direction, although at this point, I don't think that you can argue that it has been. What is it about their technology in the near to medium-term business prospects that indicate that they will become profitable? I don't see anything, and I've read through their financial filings with the SEC, in particular their 20F, which is their annual report. Most investors don't read things like this, although they probably should. I think that this company, it is very illuminating to read for their current shareholders and prospective investors. So I would encourage you to read it. I have had a link in the show notes to it in each of my videos, and I'll have it here too. And lastly, let's look at the long-term price action on the chart. If you would have bought back when it IPO'd, then you would have lost 96.61% of your investment. And that's not taking into account that back at that time, you probably would have had to pay a commission to buy the shares. And because there was a reverse stock split, you may have been charged a reverse stock split fee. No one has ever charged positive stock split fees, but many brokerages, including the one that I use, charge a reverse stock split fee. In the case of my broker, it's $38 when that happens. So my whole point of making videos like this about Nano Dimension is that I don't see any positive substantial stock movement anytime soon or in the medium term. And I think that any money that is invested or could be invested in Nano Dimension would be better off invested someplace else, either in an individual stock such as Palantir, which I talk about in other videos, or in a mutual fund. Or if you wanted individual stocks that have a high-tech component, there are always ones like Apple, Amazon, and Tesla. Okay, that's all for today. I'd love to hear from you. Please leave your comments in the comments section below. And if you disagree with me, please feel free to point out weaknesses in my arguments. Hopefully by now you've subscribed to this channel and liked this video. And I would love it if you looked at my other videos. Hopefully click the like button on those and leave a comment, even a short one. All of those things really help me out in building a following. As I always mention, this is not investment advice, and I'm not an investment advisor. I'm just some guy on the internet that you don't know, making YouTube videos that hopefully provide some entertainment, but I try to create entertainment that gives you a starting point where you can do your own research and potentially find stocks that might have some place in your well-diversified long-range portfolio. Thanks for watching, and good luck in investing.